Hello, friends. Welcome to Akul Bank Live. And there are a lot of stress among people, especially young professionals, and also some of the people who are just about to start their career, and also sometimes in youngsters. How to cope up with this stress? I am joined by a very eminent trainer who actually take these sessions and help people come out of these anxiety and stress. Her name is Aditi Palit. So, without further ado, let's welcome her.
Good, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be back again on this platform. And today I will talk about a very important factor, as has been mentioned, stress, which has always been in most people, and particularly since the start of the pandemic, it is becoming serious among all age groups. So I would like to talk how I conduct this in brief, how I conduct these sessions. And one more thing I want to stress here is I have lived through stress before marriage, and after getting married to a doctor, I knew that it is a thing that we need to work on ourselves and not let us go to that length where we are left with no option but to go to a specialist. Stress is a fact of life, human life. Everyone has it in some degree, but those who are afflicted with it in serious proportions and don't display, and this kind of situation, biological warfare, we are seeing loss everywhere. I would like to help people to handle them, these, the factors that lead to their stress.
Well, Aditi, I think from my point of view, I see a lot of stress among the people who have just passed out, especially the youngsters who are 18 years or starting their career. I'll tell you the reason. You see, people who have already lived their life, they have a different kind of stress. So we are not talking about that. Let's focus on the youngsters. And because of this issue of social isolation, the people who are just starting their career are not getting that feeling of getting some experience or exposure. Youngsters who are below 16 years or below younger children, they are already undergoing the online training. So by the time they reach this milestone of starting a career, they would be fairly used to offline working or online working, whatever you want to call it. But the people, especially the youngsters who have just passed out in past couple of years or who are going to pass out now in next 1 or 2 years, the stress is very alarming. So over to you. I think that is my specific question, but you can add from your experience, what kind of stress people are having, especially youngsters.
That's a very pertinent question to me because I do a lot of coaching, but different and a basket of behavioral coaching. But my target or the segment that I have always been dealing mostly with are young professionals. I have dealt with them. And being having been an HR executive and manager with, as I say, with HCL, I have seen that the challenges that we faced when it was totally physical, is far, I'll tell you, easier than what is happening now. So I would, that's why I have fashioned my, the sessions especially for them, in the way that has helped them, and I continue to believe that I will help them in the future also.
So, Aditi ji, please tell us how your session works. I mean, does it require some sort of a orientation before you start working with the people who need help, especially to remove the stress that they have in their life? What is the general process? You can update our viewers.
All right. Here I would like to add that since I'm an instructional designer also, so my, the presentations of the modules are based on instructional designing, which involves a lot of analysis, pre-training analysis. Now, to come to this particular topic, stress management, I've seen that most people and youngsters especially cannot identify the stress triggers which they face. It is not something that, oh, I'm not feeling well today, and I'll get okay. I'll watch a movie and all. It is actually in their mind, and temporary, helps cannot cure them. They cannot come out of that. So first of all, that is where I give each one chance to tell me which particular, I have the emotional triggers, chart. I tell everyone, each one, to identify their particular trigger. So that helps me. It is this kind of training cannot be generalized, applicable to each and every individual. Workplace, stress is different, but we must remember that we are all coming from our homes with personal problems also. So I tell the individuals, first tell me whether something is there at home which is constantly proving a irritant to you. And since I've always been a friend, philosopher, guide kind of coach, they do, after seeing the chart, they say, oh, my ma'am, we didn't realize this little thing which is happening in me because of this situation at home. Or maybe the new manager is not listening to me, or not supporting my innovative ideas, not recognizing my great input into teamwork. Some can take it in their stride and tell themselves that okay, he's not recognizing. I'll do it. I'll do better, and next time he will be left with no other option but to recognize me. This comes from the level of confidence which a team member has, which an employee has. Now, once they recognize the particular trigger or one or two triggers, then I come to them, and among that, with reference through that trigger, how vulnerable, my next step is recognize that trigger and how vulnerable are you to it. Is it very serious? Is it a little serious? Or I am being able to find ways to, cope with it little by little. And, they say, with your help and active guidance, we are sure we'll get about it. So then the next step is to recognize yourself. Next, the third one, these are, I'm also talking with reference to the learning outcomes. Once they identify, they will find the solutions themselves. They find it. The level of confidence, I'm very particular on focusing on the level of confidence as a personality in my trainings. I can understand who are saying they have understood and have understood, they are ready to implement, and those who are hiding things inside them. One of the commonest stress factor or trigger is people hide this. Oh my God, if I tell my parents that I'm not feeling good or I'm feeling stressed, they will think that it's wrong. Maybe the neighbors come to know. If that level comes to a psychiatrist, I will be termed as abnormal. So the others are saying, as I said, we are talking of the good of Western countries and the good of Indian, countries, India. So what is there? They go to the psychiatrist, psychologist. One thing is, I've learned from my husband that it is not necessary to go to a psychiatrist for most people. Any psychologist who he or she, my trainees I say, if you think after my sessions, and I also have family members who are these, so you can go to it, but you may not need to go to a specialist if you yourself build this mechanism, and which I teach them. And the mechanisms are also, one thing is that many teach Many, there are coaches that are teaching because they've taken it, they're certified, or they've taken it from Google or anything. But being, coach for over 16 years, around a decade, and having handled young minds, and having overcome the stress element in myself, I said, as it was quite serious. Being a good student, I think, but I took things, academics, too seriously, where I felt, a bit nervous before the exam. Then I understood that is leading to my loss. So these are, then once so it has to be done step by step. Once the vulnerability level is understood, and from there I focus, those who are very vulnerable, I handle them even, more carefully. So then, the coping strategies come, which is the most important aspect of this coaching. Now, generally, what I've seen, the advice is that do yoga, listen to music, go out for a walk, talk to your friends, which is a big factor, with those who are working in isolation. So work from home. Each one, again, has an inclination towards one or two of these strategies. Again, questionnaires are there from me. I will even, make them act, even, so a parent or a friend with us. So a lot of, relevant, activities. Now, being online is a big different, because the kind of offline is much easier. But then here, focus on the mind. And say it's a 5-day training, but what is needed, feedback. And I can understand who are saying, yes, we've done. And when I give them an activity again, which they cannot do it, then I've understood. But I don't let them, go to that length, because according to instructional designing, midway, we have to take feedbacks. And I've refashioned it over time, and then go to something which is proving more effective to these people who are not being able to. So everyone says, if I say go to do yoga, ma'am, yoga is actually very boring. Let's do say something with dance moves. If I tell dancing to everyone, they'll say we are not good at dancing. So by the questionnaires, I identify whose inclination is towards which strategy to go. So at the end of the 5-day session, I am already constantly and in between constantly making changes. One set of trainees in one company may differ to another. So that way, and at the end, these are the results that they do. And they do overcome, because lot of unnecessary baggage is there in the minds of these young people.
Well, Aditi, I have one question here. You mentioned 5 days. So, in 5 days, is there a measurable metrics that is also available as part of your design system? Where, for example, if there is a parent who approaches you and say that, hey, I suspect my child is under some sort of stress. So, after a period of 5 days, will you be able to show improvement in terms of metrics? Is that something that
I have done. Now you see, 5 days, I'm not claiming, that there's total transformation, that this person will not. That's why I prefer to serious, for serious topics like, stress management. I prefer 10 to 14 days, because if I do 7 days and then at the end, I don't leave without seeing this kind of, change. Then if at the end of say 10 days, that person has not changed in measurable way, then I suggest they take clinical help. So it's not, and this has been a feature of my trainings. Even if there is a contract with a company for 7 days, next 7 days I keep in touch. And if it's serious, and it's not that I always charge for those who are having problems at the end of the 7. whether it's my professional training, and whether or my academic trainings. I have got feedback that, ma'am doesn't leave us till she achieves what she wanted in us. So I'm not saying total, stress management can be done in these, but there I have seen there is considerable change because the process is very logical. As I said at the beginning, if someone says today I'm not feeling good, why are you not feeling good? Is it a physical one, stomach ache, headache, fever, or something is upsetting me as I said at the beginning? If they say that I have, as I said, metrics, a question is where they are checked thoroughly. At the end, beginning, I do psychometric tests, where if they are honest, and I can gauge the level of honesty in this people here. I've been an young IT professionals. I know more or less, the challenges may have become online more serious. Say these are the group of people who I'm doing stress management in recent time, and I've got the feedback that it's not personal. The whole team has not been given a proper onboarding process. So that is not in the mind of an individual, which is creating. So there I go and suggest that if you give me, 3-4 days of telling them the process of, or your HR manager, that if this has not worked, or if you want me to help, I've learned that I've told in one previous interview of here that last year in 2020, I've heard from my ex-trainees that they were asked to help these people by the new entries because the proper onboarding, nothing was told about the project much, and what are the company's policies, which is very important, which should be done before the, when the person is selected after interview. So what these young people, if they knew any connection, they approach that, help us. So this is a general, you can say, professional stress. The whole team is suffering from that. That is easier to deal. But in this also, some people are, in this can cope it. Okay, and they'll coming to know about the project. Okay, then if my team manager finds fault with me that I do not know the company policies, or I can go back and I can tell him that, sir, this kind of onboarding did not clear my, the issues that I had. I'm not still. So this is again confidence building. But when it comes to issues, personal issues, someone again not performing at the workplace over and over again because he has some, not a proper idea. Say it's teamwork, which is more of team and less of individuals. Now, individual contribution. But most run up after individual contribution. This I've seen with my experience that when I ask them, say, ma'am, ultimately we will be judged by our individual performance. So why should I help someone, by doing their work along with mine? I said, I have ample, examples. I've trained people where the person who did more teamwork than, individual, and by managing time, they have really been rewarded. You cannot be now this kind of wrong, information or wrong understanding of the situations, they lead to stress in individuals. Then I offered them that before that, talking clearly, being afraid of the manager or the team leader will not lessen your stress. Be an adult young. And that's why I do a lot of campus to corporate trainings. I understand new professionals even better, to be professionals even better. So there is, and from my experience, I talk everything from my experience. Again, I'm telling you, these are not made stories. My processes or my modules are from real time experience. So why they can handle the stress later? Because they don't have a general idea. They will have a specific stress management strategy which will work for them. Then remember this, next time they're facing any stress, they will apply this strategy. So this way, I have shown, and I have gained the confidence of these young trainees that they will do it. They are doing with me, and even I've gone to companies with whom I've worked for a long time. Even 1 month later, I find out from the HR manager. Still, if there anything, I will train again without any.
I have one question. So you mentioned about 10 days is a program. So how much time per day one person has to spend with you in order to improve his situation from the stress per day?
See, my sessions are 2.5, 3, depending on the agreement that I go with the company. So that is twice a week. Now, I tell one thing, the first thing I say, you're adults. You all will think that if ma'am gives some kind of assignment to be done at home, that is childish. But I can't guarantee really, just when I'm there, you're doing it, you're saying you're performing. Next day, the next time we, again meet, if you have not done that assignment, I can guarantee further success for you. At home, how when it was physical, now also, when you're doing online, you finish your work, your whole day, 8 hours, give my assignment 10 minutes. I'm not asking you for much. Go through it and see whether the previous day's session really had an effect. If you did not, write it down. Identify where you didn't understand me or why it didn't have an effect. Come back, I will deal with you first before I carry on.
So I think when you say that there are 3 sittings per week and about an hour, is that correct? About an hour?
More than that. I said all my sessions are minimum 2 hours. 1 hour I cannot guarantee. It will take months.
So in that case, these are some exercises that you give to the person to perform, and also some sort of homework.
Absolutely, that's what I just said. That they need to be in touch. Why? Because those 2 hours they are with other people, online also. They are interacting. They are getting to know from each other, not as much as offline where they could physically meet. But after that, all it takes is a phone call to the person, he is having, before bringing problems the next day. This works. The youngsters at least chatting on the phone or any kind of video calling. If you see someone in the team who's taken the training that he or she is performing better, that means understood my sessions, that day sessions, just give them a call. And also I have personal windows where I take professional calls also. So again, the real solution is you stay in touch with what is being trained on. Any issues, you can sometimes call me with a message, or it's very easy that you pick up the phone or do video calling with your teammate who's going. After that, sit down and see where you're still not being able to identify the trigger, that, or maybe the process by which the coping strategy process. Then write it down and bring it to me next class. So that way it happens that at the end of the 10 day, it differs, the company, it also differs on the company policies. When they say something like, communication can have faster results, but interpersonal skills cannot have. So when I make them, tell my layout and my analysis and my module, they see, they understand. Many of them extend it. Seeing very good feedbacks from the trainees, the company, the HR, they extend it. But if they're in a hurry and they say we can allot only 10 days because we are having other sessions, then I'll tell them that then I should have access after 7 days, and you don't have to pay. Anyone with serious problem, I don't leave usually, but anyone still, then get a one-to-one call. They can still there. I don't wash off my hands, still I can achieve success. I have proved that over the years. This is not just talking. I am available, and since this is pandemic, this is serious matter of stress. These kind of waves. I'll tell you another thing, the stress factor. I'll tell you, I'm getting many kind of waves are coming. This is also serious. Next one will be serious. They're not being able to differentiate. Having had COVID myself and hearing, close people suffering, I'll tell you, Omicron is milder than Delta. But hearing one person suffering a lot, they said, we are gone. We didn't have last year. These kinds of talk or approach is also a stressful factor, because they don't take into account it's being given all over, and to only listen. It's also I'm talking of the present situation. They should only read articles by medical professionals. Even there is, I'm not against, IIT Kanpur, they're giving, they're having some calculations that even then, this time will come. I, for one, believe that it is only scientists and, the medical professionals who can predict, who are saying, again, it depends. Like I tell you, just yesterday I read that Mumbai and Delhi, because they are facing the problem much in larger numbers. My city is catching up. Their peak will come earlier. So you are from one of those states, but I believe that if that is, people there are more careful, they can handle. Now ours also, it is coming. I tell people around me that be careful. So this is why, if you have unnecessary wrong information, that is a big cause of stress.
I have one question, Aditi, and that is related to stress again. So I'm bringing the discussion back to the stress. See, you know that the stress actually builds over multiple days, multiple months, and it is largely ignored, as you mentioned in the beginning. So when you finish your 10 days program, is there a refresher course which is also planned after a few months, so that you know?
Yes, that's what I've been telling, that it depends on the company policy. If they say, no, we cannot afford any more sessions because we have a lot of other sessions, then I say, at least give me 1 day. And, as I've told before, this is absolute, more and more, it's becoming a passion. I'm not only running after money. Money is very important for everyone. Give me 1 day. Anyone who I had a feeling that they still were hiding because of parental pressure or whatever, I will then talk to him separately. And any group, 2, 3 if they're having. But I have, because it is built on scientific facts, my sessions on stress management has also yielded near 100% results. It is, as I told you, these are very built logically. Identifying individual stresses, the level of vulnerability that you are, and then again, those tests are there where they cannot lie. My interactions, then the coping strategies, not generalized. The thing they have to pick up among my suggestions, they have to pick up which is their, which is workable for them. So then that they become, at the end, they become confident that any kind of stress, they'll be, we are talking of maybe the pandemic now, okay, biology or whatever. Then once this is over, the human life all through is full of stress. So say that is, first it was pandemic and then workplace problem. Suddenly, I'll tell you some things that parents have got divorced after my sessions are over. They can identify that it is upsetting, it is demoralizing, but they are at a stage where they should take it in their stride and say that now, henceforth, I will chalk out the plan for my life. I will make it better. I will nowadays parents, they meet up with individually with the children and all. I tell them, you're not at a 10-year-old or 12-year-old where you should think that is it's shattered. Your life is shattered, and you get stressed, and you take antidepressants, or maybe some have become later on heard that from cases and all suicidal, because this came as a big blow. So take it in your stride that they are individuals, even after staying put together for some time. They may have problems, and it's better that they divorce instead of having quarrels every day and keep proving making an unpleasant atmosphere at home. Go on with your life. You started a new job. How to get all the nitty-gritties of excelling at the new job. Your constant friends have come as a big support. Talk to them. I'm always there. I've told you, my trainees keep in touch with me. So anyone, but again, if you feel you cannot, talk to a psychologist. There are many ways, but for heaven's sake, don't lose hope and take any drastic measure. Yeah, I'll tell you, it is very distressing. Nowadays, the shortest, the possible cure that youngsters are taking is suicide. That's no solving. So once as I said, they treat me as their friend, philosopher, guide. When I talk during the sessions, it's not always on exact module or whatever. I do a lot of life-linked talks, confident, motivational talks. And then they ask me, ma'am, this is only 10 days. Can we get in touch with you after that? If there's still any chance, any day, I said, of course. Always. Just ping me and that. So this is, I've seen, if the module is scientific and individualized, this is a training which cannot be, all of you do, as I said, coping strategy, all of you do yoga, or just dance, or just talk to your friends. No, sometimes friends cannot understand you also, what is going on in your mind, unless a best friend or something. So these are the coping strategies. Today you've selected this. Tomorrow you know that there are other ways, which also has helped some people. I have something to fall back on, that is another coping strategy. So when one is equipped with the ways of fighting stress, why will it not have effect?
Well, I think it is an open fact, Aditi ji, that it is being said also that the unidentified pandemic is the stress which is affecting our youngsters. And when it is already said that it is unidentified, do you have any pointers that you would like to give to your parents through our program to identify the early stages of stress in their children? Would you have some sort of pointer which you can share on our program today?
Just coming to that point, now I was focusing on the trainees, but parents, believe me, have a huge role to play, huge. Now, this is a fact which you will also agree with me. Many young professionals who have become parents, they don't give time to sit down, have a meal, and talk to their children what happened during the day. Now, and keeping a caretaker, keeping a whole timer, they cannot understand the child. If you talk to them, what happened at work, if you don't want to give in details, you can give in, short form. You can tell what is, best thing that happened during your day. If you keep a watch on the child, parents should understand. And here I'm claiming, and I'm claiming with reason, that mothers have a bigger role to play in this. Children open up to mothers more easily. So talking daily with the child. Now something wrong happened at work. The child, the young person, boy or girl, is glum today, and then maybe didn't get into the job, desired job. If the parents say, "I told you, you didn't give enough time to your preparations." That's why this blame game is again a stress factor. Will the child get that job? I've seen it again. I'm telling you, staying with a doctor, it has helped me to understand human psychology. A little bit of an example. My son was very honest. If he left a book at home, didn't take that book, and he was punished outside the class, he would come and tell me, something wrong has happened. Now, one day, because of that, factor that he's not being taking books and all, he didn't prepare, he didn't do well. So I said, it is because of this, I started. Then my husband, and another thing is, parents should not quarrel in front of the children, however big the boy or girl is. My husband told me later, he will not confide you if you do like this. So parents, this is my, if I get to talk to the parents, for serious, little bit of a serious matter with any training, I do request the HR manager to talk. Maybe if they don't have time, I can talk to them. That blame game and, things like that should not be the way you deal with a bad day in your child's life. Starting with marks. Marks are something also which are not important as much as the happiness of a child. So this is the way I'll tell you, spend time with the child as much as possible. It is quality time, as it said, to half an hour, 1 hour, then you will definitely get to know that your son or daughter has not had a good day. Now, if you just keep on questioning why this, it will not help. And the stress will come. And one day you will see that your child has to go to a psychiatrist. No one wants that, isn't it? So give time, however busy. I'll tell you, when my child was born, after that, he was 2-3 years old. When I was with HL, I saw that, because his father is a doctor, he's not expected to give time. I kept with my, parents while I worked. Then I realized that if I take time off, maybe a year or two, and make him, look after him, and, his admission, his quality time, not all have to do it, but I think this helped, because I knew how his mind was working, how he's growing up with a positive, mentality. Do not make earning money your, first and last priority. Once you have a child, give him or her your time. I tell you, and now I say proudly that I'm reaping much, much more benefits, I believe, than if I had kept him with, I'm not generalizing, this is my experience, kept him with an ayah. I came from office, I had dinner and told, oh, child is sleeping, I'll go to sleep. I have relatives who have also done, work and looked after the child, but they made it a point to give time to their children every day after they return from work. So parents, please, and this is my urgent appeal, do it, and your child will be the best child you can hope for.
Absolutely, I think Aditi, you're just scratching the surface. and only touching the, which is visible. I think there is a lot to it. So parents, we appeal that if you have any stress in your life or stress of youngsters in your family, do contact Aditi. Aditi, as usual, it was a great pleasure of us to talk to you and bring all this knowledge in front of our viewers.
Yes, I would like to again say that I have helped thousands and thousands, and my motto is still I'm working. Even after that, I will go on changing lives, which I really transforming lives, which I have done, and I'm just not talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditi, and we will catch up next week. Viewers, as we have seen, the stress can be very stressful, as we say that. So, identify the stress at home, get the early signs, and do contact Aditi either through us or directly. The email will be shared at the end of the program, and we hope you can leverage this knowledge. As usual, I'd like to say goodbye for today, only to catch you again in the next one.